I don't think they're contributing enough.
How football can kick you in the pills every once in a while, right?
Brother, this is the A-Leagues there.
They're every chance of breaking this record at the moment.
I thought he's going to be my mate, because I'm scared of him.
This leaf was in here.
Hello and welcome A-League fans to another episode of the A-Leagues Download presented by Isuzu Ute. Are the Jets on a record-breaking run? Is Sydney FC form a question? And our man Charles Nduka opens his account for the Melbourne Victory. A lot to get through today. I am your host, Jake Barker-Daish, and as always, joined by a couple of legends who were part of the inaugural A-League season, by the way, Naum, Sekulovski and Archie Thompson. Guys, how are
brother?
How good's this?
Yeah, mate. It's
We're
good.
back.
Yeah, we're just saying, did you kick him a few times in that first season?
I did thump him a few times, I reckon.
Probably, yeah.
Season one.
Season one. Do you want to plug those stats you just shared to me just before we jumped on as well? It was 4 goals, 5 assists or something?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not too sure, yeah.
Who's counting?
Pretty good, yeah. Who's counting?
You seemed sure when you were telling us before.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Well, we got to start with a few of the bangers of the week because there were a couple to choose from. And again, the Ninja A-Leagues was one that we had to break down and find one to get an absolute pearler, which we'll show you. But the first one here, Archie, we're going to open up with our man, Lachie Bayliss, who seems to be liking this angle to score his goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a goal, I think, against Wellington it might have been in the first minute. Wellington or Brisbane, but exactly the same position. It seems like opposition teams aren't kind of cluing to this is where he scores his goal. But that's an amazing finish. I mean, as soon as he gets an opportunity, he pulls the trigger. But how good is
far post.
Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely.
How good is the Jets? I mean, they're so good to watch.
We're going to go into them. A quick taking corner there, but there's just so much to talk about the Newcastle Jets at the minute. Well, we're going to head to the Ninja A-Leagues because this was one of the all-time free kicks from a young Peta Trimis out for Central Coast in a windy Wellington. Butker.
Mate, this is an absolute peach, really. The techers that's involved here to get it over the wall. Slightly wind assisted, yes, but this is an absolute gem. And I don't know, I'm going to throw this one out to the panel. I mean, you know, is she a smoky for the Matildas?
Well, her name is swirling around a lot and she's popping up in the bangers a lot.
Swirling around a lot, just like the weather.
There we go. We're on today.
Yeah, we're on.
We are on.
Sharp as a bowling ball.
If it's going by this show, she's a smoky for the Matilda because she keeps coming up, which is a good sign. So.
And you know, you've probably got a keen eye on the A-Leagues, the women's, because your own daughter is a bit of a superstar, mate.
We're going back to back, aren't we? That's funny, it's getting a double play.
No, but that's good.
No, look, it's great. Look, we keep a lid on that.
Me and Archie won't.
Yeah, she's just a young 13-year-old that's really getting started. But I mean, you get to watch some of this quality, and that's the exciting bit.
Yeah,
you know, that's what she can reach. Hopefully, one day in her career.
Yeah.
But from Trimis's point of view. Real opportunity potentially, maybe as a roughie.
Absolutely, great shout. Well, we look at the game that Peta Trimis played in with what Naum was talking about with the swirling winds. Let's take a look at the kickoff here, which was proving very difficult for Central Coast to get the game going. Guys, this is the ball is just rolling.
You don't want to be wearing the syrup and fig. You don't want to have a wig on a day like today. It's just going to start flying.
Well, I think the refs here conceded defeat, Archie, that hand on the ball to start the game just to get it going.
It's windy as it is in Wellington. I mean, if you ever played there, it's like it's chaotic.
It's known for its
windy
one
city
of the windiest cities in the world, I believe.
And you caught the scaffolding in the background there, which was a real problem on a day like that.
I did. You'd want to get the building inspector in it, just make sure that everything's to standard.
I'll tell you what, there's been a few scary moments in the Australia Cup being at Hume and with the scaffolding. There was one time when the winds were blowing like 90 k's and we were up there calling a game.
It'll be interesting. Interesting if Wellington do get in the final series, whether they'll be holding the game there or in the main stadium, given where their form is at in the Ninja A-Leagues. Let's get to the men's A-Leagues though, because a great game over the weekend was Sydney FC against Adelaide, and Harrison Devenish-Meares, might I say, had an incredible game, but towards the end had a bit of a howler in the 87th minute, which gave Adelaide the win in what was a pretty important game for their season. Guys, before we get into, I guess, the game itself, we're just going to talk about Devenish-Meares in this particular moment. I mean, geez, it hurts here. This is the moment towards the end, which, looking at that, you're going to say, oh, Devenish-Meares, what is he doing? But if you watch this whole game, he was brilliant.
Yeah, there's been a few howlers over the last couple of weeks with goalkeepers, but Devenish-Meares, definitely unfortunate. There was a couple of tired players out there, and he made some spectacular saves, and it was probably one that we're going to show where I thought that the Cooley was going to pop up and score. I don't know if we've got the footage, but it was a really beautiful shot to the corner, taken first time. He tried to ease it into the corner. And he got down to his right. I thought that was probably the save. Save of the season, because it was just fingertips and they had to push it wide. But there was a few interviews after the game where the Adelaide players, even the coach, acknowledged his performance. But unfortunately, we're going to remember that howler because it was the 87th minute. Sydney needed to get some kind of result out of it. Adelaide going there haven't particularly had the greatest of away records. To turn it around there is fantastic.
And these are the saves that you're mentioning, Archie. I mean, this is throughout the game, and we're going to pull up the Cooley one in a second. Some were routine, but nonetheless, he's been so big and made such massive saves over the last few weeks. But, I mean, it's pretty inspiring. I guess you just feel for him in the moment, but this is the save Archie's talking about. I mean, that is...
what a great save. Super low, full stretch. I think it was last week we were on the show talking about the save of the year.
Correct.
And it just shows you how football can kick you in the pills every once in a while, right? You think you're going okay, you think you're going well, and he was having a cracker game up until that point, and then that one little error. But that's the reality of football, so he's going to have to pick himself up, and more importantly, what is Sydney looking like in this back-end run coming into finals?
Well, it's a good point you bring up because we've got to talk about Sydney FC's form. They've won 2 in their last 8. They've picked up 7 points across those 8 games, and they're still sitting in 4th with a game in hand, so they are hanging on. But, guys, we just got to go through because consistency, form is an issue across most of the league, but Sydney's a real talking point around that at the moment. They're going to go through their last 5 games just to give you some up to speed for everyone at home of what we're talking about. So they had a 2-1 loss to Adelaide, a 1-0 loss to Auckland, a 4-1 win in the Derby, a 4-0 loss to Melbourne Victory, and a 2-0 loss to Wellington. And they've got some pretty tough games coming up. So, Archie, your feeling around them, why are they built up to sort of be this strong team that we know that can perform as we saw earlier in the season, but have these moments like this?
Yeah, I've kind of had my thoughts about Sydney. A lot of people have talked about, paper and stuff, but I think their performances haven't been fantastic. And some of the players that they've got in there, I think we're going to probably talk about Quispe and Campuzano. I don't think they're contributing enough. And I've said this many times with Quispe. I love his football, style of football, but his touch is sharp, but he doesn't do anything when it really matters in the pointy end, whereby assisting, scoring goals. Like, I don't think it's enough. I think it's like 1 goal and he's got 2 assists. I mean,
correct.
In that position as a visa, we talk about it, and it does take time for these visa players to get used to it. But we're almost at the back end of the season. It's getting crunch time, and as we see already, it just takes a couple of teams to get on a run, and they're going to cement themselves in the 6th. Then there's going to be teams that have fallen out. I think Sydney is definitely one of those ones that are a bit shaky. And Tisserol, he's been fantastic, but then there's the questions about his fracture in his foot, I think, or stress fracture. You can just see at the bottom end of games, he's kind of dropping off, or that pace to kind of close down players. We talk about Devenish-Meares, about him making that mistake. He could have got out there a lot quicker to close that man down when it got too dangerous. He didn't make that, and
just kept retreating.
Yeah, retreating. That puts your goalkeeper under more pressure. So it's a tough one. Sydney are just lacking something. I think those 2 signings are going to be key, though. Very
much so. We're going to go into them. But Butker, just mentality, does that come into it as well from a Sydney FC team? You've got some experience. We know they've lost key players.
Yep.
Arslan has been out. Joe Lolly had an extended period out. Archie's mentioned some of the imports, which I'll just touch on. Piero Quispe, 2 assists and 1 goal. Victor Campuzano's had 4 goals and 2 assists, which you probably would like a higher return from in that number 10 and number 9 position at this point in the season. I mean, what are you seeing with them from your end?
Look, I think from that aspect, to echo Archie's point, there's probably a little bit of reflection on that ROI on the 2 key names. You're bringing 2 foreigners to the football club. I think they need to be a level above, and they need to be adding goals, assists, and really helping the team win. So there's definitely going to be a component of that. Look, they've got squad depth, but like you said, whether it's attitudinal, Uffy and the inner circle will know what that looks like. But really, you probably want them 2 key players to be really giving you a high return on investment, right? And then you can build the rest of that experience that they've got in and around their clubland to solidify the spot in the six and have a really strong run.
Yeah. Word of the day, attitudinal. Like that one.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, you're raising the IQ
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But it may be why they've gone into the transfer market, Archie, and they've landed Apostolos Stamatelopoulos, who we know is a formidable striker in the A-League, and also Ahmet Arslan, who's got some Bundesliga 2 and Bundesliga 3 experience, who we saw on the weekend look lively.
Well, it was funny because they got subbed on around the sort of 60th minute, and the first involvement was straight away. They turned that attack around. The link-up play, Arslan actually had 2 great opportunities to score. I think even after he was unhappy when he was interviewed because he probably of his quality should have taken those chances. But again, you're probably a little rusty coming off a flight, getting used to the boys and the speed of the game. And he was someone that's also said, it was so transitional, up one end, up there. And, brother, this is the A-Leagues, man. This is what you got to deal with week in, week out. Get used to that, baby.
Yeah, very open, man.
But you can see already that they're going to make a difference. Stamatelopoulos, great start at Motherwell. He said that he fell out of favour, but he's still an opportunity to make a World Cup. So I reckon that they will make a key difference to that Sydney team for sure.
Yeah, well, I reckon they're probably going to be a real chance to be consistent starters the way, I guess, the current Quispe and Victor Campuzano are doing. But nonetheless, Ufuk-Tally's got some decisions now to make out at Sydney FC, who play Auckland on Tuesday night and will be both fighting to get closer to the Jets. Going into the Jets, they've just won their 7th in a row, and what a team they are. They are performing at a high level. They're almost on a bit of a record-breaking run, which we're going to share in this segment. But before we do, goals to Lachie, Bayliss, LA Rose and Burton Challow on the weekend, Butker. They're just high-flying at the moment, the box office.
I'll tell you what, and it's never easy going to Perth, right? I can assure you. And going there and really looking comfortable for the best part of 90 minutes, they really got the job done and starting to show some consistency at that top end. Conceded the late goal, Sekulovski, but in general were solid in both parts of the football pitch, which is what Millsy would love.
Yeah, there seems to be just a real positive vibe about him, and it's starting to back up now in the data because our very own across the A-Leagues, Nick Stoll, put out a tweet on the weekend and, geez, it was too good to not share. So this Jets side with 7 wins in a row, guys, has a longer winning streak than Angers Barcelona. Treble-winning Central Coast Mariners, who had Barcelona was 5, Central Coast was 6. Patrick Kisnorbo's Militant City, which was 6, and Tony Popovich's Perth, which had 6 as well. So they're now equal with Season 1 Adelaide, who had 7, and Arnie's Sydney FC record-breaking team that had 7 wins in a row. The only team that's above them was inaugural season of Western Sydney Wanderers with Tony Popovich that had 10 wins.
Wow.
So this team of kids per se is on the cusp of breaking records. I think Archie, you had a team with Victory that had about 8 or 9 wins in a row as well.
Nothing like this Newcastle Jets team. And you've got to say, that's 7 straight wins they've had. But they've only lost 1 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And that game, and it's the next game is against Macarthur, was the game that they lost. And even then, that was probably their poorest performance. And they still, it was 5-4.
Still could have
gone. Yeah, they still could have gone anywhere.
Well, you know what I love about them is they've had no draws.
That's what I love.
That's why they're box office.
Yeah,
but just to go off their next 3, Butker, this is why they're a real chance to have a crack at this.
Absolutely.
They've got Macarthur at home, who we know's got the Asia Champions League to focus on, Central Coast away, and then they've got Western Sydney at home. I mean, that's a real opportunity for them to get another 3 on the board.
Mate, they're the informed team. They're all them 3 games are winnable games. So, like it or not, the players are going to know that this is on the cards. And as a footballer, what a great challenge for the football club, the players and Millsy. So they're every chance of breaking this record at the moment, the way they're going.
And just before we jump into Archie's victory, guys, I thought an interesting stat that is matched with Macarthur, but they've had 9 goals off the bench. 4 of them to Burton Challow, which obviously Harry Sawyer scored about 5 of them for Macarthur off the bench, so they're equal with them on 9. But that's a great sign of depth that they're building too.
Yeah, so. I mean, everyone's scoring in that team. Like you said, man, Berticello comes
great to
on.
play for.
Yeah, incredible. Lachie Rose is up there. Taylor's scoring. Eli Adams is scoring bombs. So they're a threat all over the park. And now, like we talked about early on about their defensive woes, they're starting to tighten that up a little bit. I think, I think an unsung hero at the moment is that Daniel Wilmering. I think he's
brilliant,
unbelievable this year. The way that he's sort of defending, but also really joining in the attack, and they look like a fit team.
Yeah,
like Millsy's got him.
Got him humming.
Yeah.
Burnsy said on the weekend on the broadcast, he said they're by far, at ground level, how fit and how much they run is more than he's seen from any other team.
Because
I think he's right.
the pressure they put on that the front line where they're closing down is just amazing. Even the wing-backs, they have to make long runs to close those wider players down, but they still do it. It's great to watch.
Yeah, well, Wilmering's one of those products that's got a bit of a chip in his shoulder, didn't have the best run at Western Sydney Wanderers, comes and I could talk about the Jets all day here.
Yeah, mate.
Love it. But we're going to have to move off them and get on to Melbourne Victory, because Melbourne Victory looked like they were dominating most of the game against Brisbane Roar, but Nick D'Agostino popped up towards the end to come back against his old club and level the game out. Archie, where are you feeling with them? Right now they're sitting sixth.
Yes.
Their form is inconsistent. We talk about Sydney in that same boat. I mean, are they the most vulnerable team in that top six now to go out? Because they've got a run of games coming up, which we're going to go through, that is going to be quite challenging.
Yeah, I think they're still probably one of the... Look, I mean, Jets obviously is the one that's a consistent team. I feel like Victory are getting more consistent. A little bit more over a 90-minute period than just maybe half-time. This game against Brisbane, I don't think, they showed up in that second half. But then also saying that, Brisbane came out a bit more physical. And if you don't take your opportunity as a team that's on top to go 2 goals ahead, we've seen in this league, it just takes one counter-attack or one moment from the other team and they score. And it was a really great little build-up. I mean, 1-2 with Klein out wide, he cuts it back. D'Agostino with a great finish, and then they just really missed something in that second half. But then also too, you've had 14 shots on goal, and you've only hit the target 3
and
times.
if you break down all these shots they're having on target over the last month to the goals, I mean, we know Charles Nduko, who wonderful celebration, wonderful moment for him to get his first goal for the club. But I mean, geez, you've got to be, even as the Victory coaching stuff, you can't help that.
You got to be more clinical.
It'd be about 30, 40 shots on target for like only a couple of goals. But that seems to be their area of concern. And now you look at what is maybe a make or break period. They've got the Melbourne Derby coming up this weekend, Adelaide at home, Sydney away, Macarthur at home, and Central Coast away. I mean, it's crunch time.
Yeah, big month and a bit of football coming up, starting with the Melbourne Derby. And it's just really, like you said, Arch, I think the missing piece is that final third. You know, if you crack that and you start getting goals consistently, obviously it makes life easier for everyone behind you as well.
Yeah.
So for them, it'll be about do you like getting the guys on the park. Maybe Archie, you can get a part-time job there as a striker coach or something.
Yeah. I mean, but I look at it, right, and Victory, you can sometimes have an off half or whatever, because you look at the game against Wellington, they score 3. The week before, they scored 4 against Sydney. The game against, I think it was Adelaide, okay, that was a bit, hard to take. They could have still won that one. Then the game against Central Coast, when they peppered that goal, it was like 30 shots, and they ended up winning that. And, so look, I feel like they're probably not as vulnerable as maybe some of the teams, but they just need to be a bit more clinical.
And if you're a stats person, to Archie's point, they had over 60% possession with 16 shots on goal. They should be winning that game at home. That's probably the concern and the annoying thing for Melbourne Victory, which is probably, hopefully, a good negative, you could say, for them. Let's head out to what was a great game, Western Sydney and Wellington, Butka, because Wellington, geez, they just don't seem to be dying and going away, despite moments in games where we were speaking about it before. Costa Barbaroos could have put Western Sydney up 3-0, and yet Wellington come back here, and we'll have a look at the goals to come back 2-2. This was the first one here from Tuloma. Off a corner, and then Ifanese pops up.
Yeah, a couple of set pieces, and really this game I think had a penalty shout. Like you said, Costa probably scores that every other day of the week, and I think a minute or a minute and a half later they concede, and the game just changes and spins. So good to see that fighting spirit. Eze man on the spot. I mean, you picked him for.
Becoming friends with him at this point.
Yeah,
gloating I'm giving him. Fine, if you need my number for anything, and I mean anything, you let me know.
And plus the BSB and account details as well, and just
once I saw him throwing punches in the early rounds, I thought he's going to be my mate because I'm scared of him.
He's my man. But great spirit from Wally back in that game, and just again from a Western point of view, probably one that they could have. Just sailed off with if Costa finishes that. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you split the game and there's a point each in it.
Yeah, and I will say quickly too, like how good's been Ryan Fraser. I mean, he's been an excitement machine already for Western Sydney. I've been really
and
great.
it's so early. Right? Imagine what he's going to be like in the next few 4 or 5 games.
And another one that I really caught my eye and starting to get fit again is that Sekulovski. Mate, his passing range of pass and quality in tight situations is fantastic. I really enjoy the way he played.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I want a yes or no answer from you from here, because for everyone that's thinking of jumping off the show right now, don't, because we've got our debate of the week coming, which I'm loving what the next segment's going to be here. But yes or no, can Wellington make finals?
Yes.
Ooh.
Wow. Safe.
No.
No. Okay. I'm probably a little bit more with you, Archie. On that one.
I want him to.
I want him to as well, but I'm not too sure. But
I was just trying to play a little bit.
Okay.
Because I've sort of sided with Jakey from a dress sense perspective. We've gone blue, and then Archie's gone baby shit brown. So I thought we'll just try split the difference, yeah?
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
that's good.
I digress.
Percentage football. Well, we're going to see what you play here with your thinking, because I'm going to bring up some footage here of a penalty shout for Wellington, guys. We're going to put our referee cap on. This was a no penalty was given, and then the referee went back to the VAR, stopped the game a few minutes later, looked at his decision and confirmed that this was not a penalty. Obviously, the question here is the ball. Did he get any of the ball? Doesn't look like it. He's clipped the leg. All right, it may be soft, but it's deviated the whole process of what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think it's a pen. I mean, look, you can see that he's going into it and he knows that he's not going to... fair enough, he's pulled out, but the thing is that he's left his leg out and the guy's gone down. So for me, we've seen it so many times that when a VAR has pulled over a referee, usually they would give that a penalty. I think there's enough contact to be a penalty.
For me, when I look at it, if he doesn't get fouled, there's probably a shot on goal, right? Or at least an attempt on a shot on goal, so it's a pen.
Yeah, which is different to what we were doing in Wellington last week, because it was almost like the player was deemed from you and Rashid, by the way, that you'd run into him. I thought it was a penalty, but nonetheless, he's come into the road of the player and changed the whole process of what would have happened in the 18-yard box.
Spot on.
It's a clear penalty for me as well.
Yeah.
So am I right both weeks then?
I disagreed with you last week.
Did you?
But you were right, technically right with the VAR panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Yeah, so maybe I'm I think I'm making great calls on that. It's easy when you watch it back 15 times. So it's very fun stuff. Those debates, we're going to keep coming on some of the refereeing decisions, I guess, around and see what we think. Ninja A-Leagues, we spoke of it earlier in the show, guys, but we have another record-breaking moment here from young Willa Pearson from Sydney, who became the youngest player and then followed up being the youngest goal scorer. We'll have a look at her goal here against Brisbane. A massive moment for the 15-year-old. And I just want to say on this as well, she's breaking Sam Kerr's record, who was 15 in 88 days. So Willa Pearson's 15 in 51 days. Kerr held the record for 17 years, which is incredible. Pearson, she's also the youngest player in the competition's history and has made 15 appearances for Sydney FC as a central defender. Her last 2 games since Ante Juric's departure, she's been coming off the bench. It looked like she might have been a wing-back or a winger there with that goal. But record-breaking moments. I mean, imagine being 15 years old in 51 days, getting an A-Leagues goal. That's pretty special.
And this hits home a little bit, right? Because you've got a 13-year-old daughter, you've got a 14-year-old son. So these moments for young kids are super, super special for the families, for everyone involved. But really, when you think about, where the women's game was once upon a time to where it is now, and obviously I'm on a junior ground, 5-6 days a week. So you get to see the boys and the girls, and the women's game just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the evolution of where we are is the younger footballers are getting exposure a lot earlier because the development's coming in at an earlier age as well. So what a fantastic achievement, and really, potentially, right? Maybe one day. We see a Sekulovski out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we will. Yeah. We're going to put the pressure on her. But no, she's doing wonderful. Your girl, Willa Pearson as well. Archie, just quickly, your 2 cents of being a young player that broke onto the scene. I mean, the excitement you feel, and I guess a little bit of the fearlessness that you have as well. Can you take us into what some of these younger girls were seeing that keep popping up on the Ninja Bangers of the Week and breaking records? I mean, they're doing great things.
Yeah, well, it's incredible. I think it's, first of all, it's a coach being able to give them the chance and the trust to be able to do what they're doing at such a young age. I mean, I think I was about 17 when I came on the NSL scene. Nothing like a 15-year-old, because those years are a big difference.
Huge difference.
I mean, you look at your girl; she's 13. Can you imagine her in 2 years scoring on the W?
I can.
League? but that's like, you see the maturity. Like
absolutely.
You've got to grow pretty quick in those couple of years. So I think we're seeing a lot of young boys coming through at the moment. It's fantastic, and young girls as well. So. Good on them for putting themselves in a position to be able to do that, and the coaches to have that trust in them. So it's a combination of both, really.
Yeah, well, Willa Pearson's special moment on the weekend snapped an 11-match winless streak for Sydney FC, which obviously was crucial for them to do so. And Wellington are sitting second behind Melbourne City with a game in hand and can go on top. If you're all watching along with the Ninja A-Leagues, that's some updates there. So we'll be keeping a close eye on some of the form and the finals period coming up. That is for sure. Guys, we've got to go and look at our teams in Asia here, because we haven't spoke about them too much from an Asian point of view. Melbourne City and Macarthur. Melbourne City is obviously in the top flight of the Asian Champions League. Macarthur's playing in A2, if you will, the second tier of the Asian Champions League. City now, they've still got a game left in their group, but they're officially through to the round of 16. And Macarthur need to now overturn a 2-0 deficit against Bangkok, which they just went down to on the weekend. Before we get into the prize money aspect, which has had me licking my lips talking about before, I mean, it's big tick from the boys so far in Asia to be doing so well, managing the league, but obviously performing at a high level in our biggest competition, you could say.
Absolutely. We have a massive load of games during this sort of December, January period, and to inject Asia in and amongst that, there has to be, a lot of thought that goes into squad management. Obviously, you're travelling, recovery, P3 recovery, Richmond. Let's just crowbar it in very quickly.
Dang,
I wasn't going to do it, but I've just done it.
Yeah, he told me he wasn't before as well.
I did. But
it needs to be in that case.
Yeah, my bad. But nonetheless, it forms part of the package, right?
Yeah.
The clubs need to be doing everything they can, and I think they've done it brilliantly. Very, very hard to manage. And then, like you said, there's some prize money that's attached to this.
Yeah, which I'll go into. But Archie, you've played a lot in this competition and done
dominated,
well.
by the way.
Dominated, but experienced the difficulty of the travel more so than playing 2 games a week and away.
Yeah.
I mean, how impressed are you by what Melbourne City's doing with a relatively new team as well?
Yeah, incredible. Like especially too, because they've had to do a lot of it with young players.
Yeah.
And great win in Korea. I thought that Yunus, I mean, he's been fantastic for City. Yeah. And you can see, I really love the emotion of the kid. He was in tears after the match when he scored that winner. And I love it. There's some real maturity in these young boys coming through. I mean, there was an interview before the Adelaide-Sydney game where the Coolie was talking to Tristan McManus about, his journey and also the pressure of not just himself, but also the family looking after that. It was a really beautiful moment where he got emotional about it. So it just shows that the maturity level of these kids are a lot more than what we probably in one sense.
We won't go back to Archie's old interview.
Okay, I'll try to throw you under the big stick.
Just threw me under the bus.
Sorry, mate.
All good.
You picked him on the years a few weeks ago when he wasn't here. So
I did.
For one day.
That's fair play.
But it's fantastic to see the maturity and the emotion and the way that City now can, leading into this derby this weekend, where they probably were thinking, okay, if we don't get a result in Korea, we have to play our number 1 squad for on Thursday. Now they can play maybe a lesser side squad and then focus on the derby and really cement themselves into a 6.
That's a great point. And I think Melbourne City, probably a team we expect to come back up the ladder, and Macarthur, a real smoke in this league. But when I talk to you about this next point, you might understand now why they are putting all chips in one basket when it comes to the Asian Champions League. So they got $800,000 just for making the group phase, which obviously is a massive achievement. To then get through to the knockout phases, they get an extra $200,000. So Melbourne City has officially locked that in. Last season, if you were a runner-up, you got $4 million US. And if you won it last year, and I think it's the same for this year, $10 million US the club wins. Which you compare that, I don't think there's any prize money in the A-League, but when you look at it from the Asian I mean, that's a real focus point for Melbourne City to be going after right now.
No, it's a great bump, and you know, something that probably clubs will look at, right, in future planning to say, okay, maybe we take this competition a little bit more seriously. Not that they don't, right? But you know, there's such a focus on the A-League, whereas you know, whether you're watching leagues in Europe or South America, it's multi-layered. It's multi-layered, right? And there's a focus on each individual tournament, league, whatever that might be. So maybe we have to shift our thinking a little bit and just expand to say, okay, you know, a slightly bigger squad, introduce some young boys, and we can focus on both throughout the year.
And I think what the A-Leagues are doing a little bit better is that they're giving some time for the A-League teams to play their games, where they've sort of stretched out maybe a match that was going to be playing over the weekend.
So scheduling.
Yeah, they've sort of helped a little bit with the scheduling of things. But you're exactly right. I think you've got to look at maybe the squad sizes and stuff for those sort of competitions.
And it's great for the A-League as well, seeing Melbourne City do what they're doing.
Oh, amazing. Well, we saw it with Central Coast last year winning it.
Correct.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, well, and we wish, I guess, Macarthur as well good luck, because they are going to be playing, Melbourne City's going to be playing their last game against Guangzhou on Thursday in Melbourne. But
Great pronunciation, by the way.
I might have to work on that one. But Macarthur do need to turn it around from a 2-0 deficit in the second leg. So big focus for them going forward. Now, the favourite time of the week we put up on a Sunday. Social media, you'll see it on the story. You can ask me and the panel any questions from home. We've got some Perlis Day, guys. I'm going to go straight to Archie Thompson for this one. Yeah. This is from Mr. Tom Yorkie on YouTube. Yeah. Max Burgess for the Socceroos, ? Discuss.
Look, I love the way that he's playing his football, especially in that deeper role. I think it's kind of helped him with his ability in that front line or in that 10 to come back to the 6, because he's comfortable on the ball. His awareness of things is better, and I think that's why he's so good in that position as 6. And he's doing great in defensively too. He's probably not that type of player I would have thought. Yeah. Winning balls and tackling, he's doing that.
He's crunching.
So that's
people.
great.
Yeah.
The answer no. I just think that we've just got a bit more there. But we've seen football, anything can happen, and hopefully he gets an opportunity or a chance. It'd be fantastic for him, because from where he's come from last season to what he's done this year, or even maybe the year before when he was sort of locked out of Sydney, he's come back and he's loving his football. He's enjoying. He's in a good environment. He's turned out to be a great team leader. Actually, he might be a Bolton now.
Well, just himself.
Might have been
the Leaf talking.
This Leaf was in me. I was just sort of translating. So yeah, you're right, mate.
Well, I reckon Tony Popovich has taken players into the Socceroos off this level of form. Max Burgess, it's just the World Cup. I mean, is he going to be a part of that discussion? But if it was a friendly against another nation, the likes of Ryan Teague and so forth who've been getting those call-ups, so he may. Yeah, leaf on the tree there over there. Barker, this next one's for you. This is from Dale on Instagram. Have we seen any improvements at Western Sydney Wanderers since Van Egmond took over? We know they had a bit of a hurtful game in the derby, but for periods, as we spoke of, they could have gone 3-0 up on the weekend.
Yeah. Look, it's probably a small sample size, too small, to make that judgment call. So you probably say, give him to the end of the year, and then you look at that patch of games and sort of compare it to, what's happened over the past 2 or 3 years. But look, like you said, that could have been a 3-0. Costa scores that goal and they win 3-0. So, I don't know if I've really answered that question.
No, you did definitely. I think what Archie summed it up well, though, with some of those players getting into form, is going to be helpful regardless of who's the coach.
Spot on.
So, exciting times for hopefully Western Sydney Wanderers, who, believe it or not, I think there's still a chance to mathematically get right up the ladder and do something, which they've probably got to get a move on quickly, though.
Definitely.
Travis on Instagram, this is going to be to the both of you, because you both only played for one club in the A-League, but would you celebrate if you scored against your old club? I can't see Archie doing it, but geez, he celebrated hard against everyone else.
That'd be a tough one. I don't know.
It would be tough.
Sometimes when I look at someone scoring against their old team and they kind of go like calm and that, like, mate, What are you doing? You scored. You're not there anymore, man.
Yeah, I know.
They've moved you
Just
on
go
or
for
whatever.
it. Well, the reason this came up was for Nick D'Agostino on the weekend, who, he's actually a Queensland boy playing for his home club, Brisbane. Scored against his old club here, Melbourne Victory, and paid the respectful hand of, not doing anything, which, commiserations, I guess, but nonetheless.
But it's funny, right? Because, like, if you really, didn't want to hurt your old team, don't play. Because you're still trying to score. So, I'm sorry, I scored.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I stand. I think you should be able to celebrate.
Yeah.
You're playing for your local club right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where...
100%.
I don't think there's anything wrong with celebrating. We've probably gone, again, a little bit too far, like goalkeepers that like overplaying out of the back. I think you can celebrate.
Yeah.
Just don't be a tool. Don't be a flog about it.
Yeah.
Right. Don't go up to the fans and give the
good
double
ones.
fist or the double cobra or whatever. You don't.
The double cobra.
We don't want the carry on.
That's a good point. Well, before we jump off, just a question to both of you for Tuesday night's game. We've got a catch-up game between Sydney FC and Auckland, which Auckland, if they win that, will go 2 points behind the Jets, and Sydney can go into second. So what do we reckon with that one? Sydney's running out of form. Auckland's a little bit inconsistent, but they're maintaining close to the Jets. What do you reckon, Butker?
I'm going with Auckland.
Auckland?
Yep.
Staying strong. It's at Macarthur Oval as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully the pitch is great. I think Auckland. I mean, I still feel like they're one of the strongest teams. They just got to start getting 90 minutes together, not just one half.
Yep, I'm going to go a draw in that one.
Oh, a draw. Okay.
Yeah. But I think we're going to see more of Stamatelopoulos and Arslan as well going forward. But guys, thank you for the show. Great weekend.
Mate,
football.
ripper.
More to come this week. For everyone at home, we appreciate all your support across the downloads, the likes and comments. That is all from us here at the A-Leagues Download, presented by Isuzu. We'll see you next week.